Switching gears for now, Kyiv has endured one of the fiercest air assaults of the war so far across 2 relentless days. Skies seeing drones, missiles, air raid sirens being witnessed. The strikes left 17 dead, around 120 injured. The Ukrainian Air Force says Russia has fired more than 1,500 drones at Ukraine over the last 36 hours itself. Our next report getting you the latest from the battlefield.
The warning sirens screamed first, then came the sound that has become all too familiar across Ukraine. The buzz overhead, the rush to shelters, the wait for impact. For 2 straight days, the skies over Ukraine turned into a battlefield. Wednesday rolled into Thursday without respite. Daylight attacks flowed into overnight strikes. The pressure never eased. Then the scale became clear.
The sound was unbelievable. The sound of something moving at very high speed. It felt like the whole building was shaking, you know. Windows and glass flying everywhere. And it felt like the house was collapsing. It really felt like the building was falling.
All the glass, all the furniture fell. Everything collapsed. Everything was blown apart by the blast wave. The window frames were twisted out. I got up, not even sure if I was alive or not. I guess I am, since I'm talking to you. Then I started running barefoot over the glass.
The numbers paint a stark picture. Wednesday saw 41 missiles and 652 drones involved in the assault. Thursday brought another wave, with nearly 800 drones reportedly entering the battle space. The images coming out are dramatic. Rescue teams digging through shattered concrete, smoke pouring from residential blocks, broken windows hanging over streets littered with debris.
I heard something flying. It's flying nearby. I think, Lord, where will it fall? And then there was such a terrible sound, and our house, which is opposite, jumped and staggered. I saw the hit with my own eyes, and then I looked. There is a gap between these 2 buildings which wasn't there before. There was something between them before, and now such a tragedy has happened.
Emergency workers in Ukraine's Kyiv region removed an unexploded missile warhead lodged inside a residential building. This latest escalation also comes as Ukraine has continued its own long-range drone operations deep inside Russian territory, targeting military and strategic sites. Both sides are increasingly stretching the battlefield far beyond the front lines. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
In comparison to US President Donald Trump's last visit to China in 2017, a lot has changed as far as the dynamics of the bilateral ties are concerned. While back then, Xi Jinping was only into his first term as China's president, and his approach towards Trump has visibly changed all this while after consolidating power. Just to put that into perspective, while both countries were competing on the military front even back in 2017, the US dominated the world economy back then. It accounted for 17% of the global GDP, while China stood at a distant second. Similarly, 19% of China's exports went to the US, and since then the situation has considerably reversed, with China growing stronger as far as the economy, military and diplomacy are concerned. So that's very significant. Not just that, AI and the ongoing conflicts in Ukraine and West Asia are unique factors that are shaping the discussions as well this time. A comparison of Trump and Xi's opening remarks, in fact, from their bilateral meetings way back in 2017, painting a revealing picture when it comes to what's been happening. Back in 2017, the Chinese leader focused on areas like strengthening cybersecurity cooperation, committing with the US to denuclearize North Korea. What about this time around? Xi Jinping's tone seems to have changed. While highlighting the significance of the bilateral ties, he cautioned the US president on a number of aspects. And as Trump remains unable to wriggle out of the Iran war, Xi Jinping urged the US to overcome the trap, which is a historical term that warns of the conflict between a rising power and an established superpower. Amid Trump's tariff war, Xi Jinping also advocated trade ties on an equal footing. However, his key intervention was on Taiwan. As per China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Xi Jinping termed Taiwan as the most important issue in the bilateral ties. He warned Trump of potential clashes and conflict if the situation is not handled properly, maintaining that independence of Taiwan and cross-strait peace are as irreconcilable as fire and water. He urged the US to exercise extra caution in handling the Taiwan question. And this assumes significance, of course, at a time when the US has paused arms sales worth $11 billion to Taiwan. In contrast, Trump's approach has also changed visibly. In 2017, he appeared to be on the front foot by getting China to agree on North Korea's nuclear threat and bolster cooperation against terrorism in Afghanistan. He also openly called for reforms that advance economic freedom, individual rights, and the rule of law. This time around, though, the US leader was conspicuous by his silence on Taiwan. While the White House claimed that Xi Jinping opposed militarization of the Strait of Hormuz and attempts to charge a toll, and expressed interest in purchasing more American oil, Beijing did not quite confirm that. Plagued by economic challenges back home, Trump's opening remarks seemed to focus more on expanding market access for American businesses and in China, in fact, and enhancing Chinese investment into the US. His remarks have also fueled the perception in a way that he was trying to keep Xi in good humor.
And I just want to say, on behalf of all of the great delegation that we have the greatest businessmen, the biggest, I guess the best in the world. We have amazing people, and they're all with me. Every single one of them. We asked the top 30 in the world, every single one of them said yes. And I didn't want the second or the third in the company. I wanted only the top. And they're here today to pay respects to you and to China.
And with Trump facing an increasingly assertive Xi, will he be able to get the best deal for the US is the big question, and a lot rides on what unfolds in those discussions, where the future roadmap for the relationship will become clear, perhaps. The 2028 Republican presidential race may still be a long while away, but new poll giving fresh insights into the potential pecking order. The survey is showing the U.S. Secretary of State overtaking the U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance as the Republican Party's top choice for 2028. And this development coming at a time when the New York Times reported that the U.S. President has been privately asking friends and advisors whether Vance or Rubio should actually be leading the Republican Party ticket in 2028. And Trump also fueled the speculation during a White House gathering, remember, early this week, where he informally asked attendees who they prefer to lead the party. Listen to this.
Who likes J.D. Vance? Who likes Marco Rubio? All right. Sounds like a good ticket. J.D. That was a perfect ticket. By the way, I do believe that's a dream team, but these are minor details.
And the latest Atlas Intel poll showing Rubio has the momentum. The survey conducted between May 4 and 7 found that Rubio leads the Republican field with 45.4% support, Vance trailing at 29.6%. While the Florida Governor Ron DeSantis coming third with 11.2%. More than 10% of the respondents saying they would not support any of the candidates listed, which also included Vivek Ramaswamy, by the way, also Brian Kemp and Donald Trump Jr. Now, the results also marking a major reversal from December last year, when Vance led the same poll with 46.7% support. Rubio stood at just 22.6%. In fact, Rubio's rise also coming after months of high-profile diplomatic activity, including talks on the Russia-Ukraine war, sanctions on Cuba, also diplomatic engagements involving Iran. In fact, Atlas Intel, which was ranked among the most accurate pollsters of the 2020 and the 2024 US election cycles, also found Rubio still faces a general election challenge with a 46% positive rating. 51% negative rating among the broader public. And J.D. Vance, meanwhile, appeared to dismiss early presidential talks. Listen to this.
There are a few topics that I want to talk about less than what office I'm going to run for years down the road when I'm having a good time and trying to do good work in the job that the American people already elected me to do.